Hey guys, now this is one of the biggest questions that my clients ask me. They say, how did you get into chiropractic? What inspired you to be a chiropractor? So, I had an interview last week. Check it out.
So Tom, what inspired you to be a chiropractor?
Well, when I was 16, I was a young swimmer. I was preparing for the National Swimming Championships, and I was, swimming 9 times a week, grinding it out session after session, and both my shoulders started aching. I was chronically fatigued, and eventually my left shoulder became really, really painful. I couldn't even lift it past here. And at the time, my coach back in Sheffield, he put me onto the team physio. We did stretching, we did massage, we did exercises, and they all helped a little bit, but they were really patching me through to the end of the week. And he got to the point 2 months before the national championships, I couldn't move my arm. It was that painful. So at that point, my mum was seeing a chiropractor for her low back, and she said to me, I'll ask him and see if he treats shoulders, which, looking at it now, it seems a little bit ridiculous, knowing what I know. But anyway, I went to see him, and he assessed me over, he checked me, and I was amazed. Basically, he wasn't concerned with my shoulder, he looked at my whole body. He found the root cause of what was causing my shoulder problem, and within 2 adjustments, I'd gone from no movement to full range of movement, pain-free. 2 months later, he got me competing at the Nationals, and I did a 10-second lifetime personal best, and ended up getting 2 silver medals at the National Championships for my age group. And then I never looked back from there. I thought, this is something I really, really want to study. So I moved down to South Wales, and the rest is history, as they say.
Sounds amazing. So what do you mean when you say the problem wasn't in your shoulder despite feeling pain there?
What that refers to is basically, he was checking my whole body. So in chiropractic, what we do is we assess the nervous system. We don't look at pain symptoms. Although I was having pain in my shoulder, he explained to me, he said, you've done just as many right arm shoulder movements as you have left arm. Why is your left arm painful? And he told me that there was interference in my nervous system, and he found the root cause of that. And he said the imbalances are only ever one of 3 things. It's something physical, something chemical, or it's something emotional. He found the root cause, and he addressed that. And it wasn't in my shoulder.
So why do you think there is a need for chiropractic in athletes?
I think there's a lot of young athletes out there, particularly young athletes, but all athletes, who are training too hard. They're overtraining, they're pushing their bodies to a point where they're hitting burnout. They're becoming physically and mentally exhausted because they don't know how to look after their bodies. They are used to managing pain symptoms without ever getting to the root cause of what's causing their pain. And there's a huge ethos of overtraining, and basically they're getting chronically fatigued, they're getting frustrated, and they're never fully recovering from their injuries.
What do you think the problem is with the current community of young and mature athletes?
Well, there's an ethos out there of training hard, training young, and if you're not there at the age of 16, you're never going to make it. When we look at the data, that's not true. There's a huge number of dropouts at the age of 15 to 18 in all sports. But when you come out of that side, when they hit 18, 19, they really start to see the improvements. But a lot of these athletes aren't getting through that stage. They're getting to 15, 16, 17, they're plateauing, they're not understanding what's happening to their body under chronic stress of training and exams. They are hitting the wall, so to speak, and they're burning out. And they're not aware of what's happening. A lot of them, they fall off the end of the scale. If they were taught and educated on how to look after their body, be aware of what's happening, and understand that that is a process, and manage it, a lot of them would have successful careers in their sport, and they would enjoy the sport rather than finishing thinking, I couldn't do this because I was injured. I couldn't do this because I was burnt out.
Yeah. So what challenges would you say that you face in your practice?
I say the biggest challenge you face is education. Nobody knows what chiropractic can do. Everyone's aware of physiotherapy, and most sports teams have a team physiotherapist. chiropractic is coming at this from a different point of view. We're not interested in pain and symptoms. We're interested in finding the root cause of the problem, assessing the nervous system top to bottom, and wherever that problem is, we will treat that. And the other big thing is accessibility. People aren't aware of where we are and how accessible we are. And a part of that is we're in the private sector.
People have been talking about the tuning room and the results they've been experiencing. Why does everyone say it's so different to other therapists and chiropractors? What is it that you do that's so different?
I think what they're talking about there is the approach. We come from a different paradigm. So like I said before, we're not interested in pain and symptoms, we're interested in function. We're looking at the whole body, top to bottom, and we're looking for the primary root cause of the problem, the priority. And once we find that and we assess that, the body is able to see remarkable recoveries, and we've been seeing some very interesting results. Now, when we look at what other people have experienced before and they come to see me, quite often they'll say, I've never seen this before, I've never had this assessed before. And I think that's where, you know, the differences are seen.
Yeah. So I heard about one case of an athlete suffering with scoliosis. Could you tell me about the improvements that you've seen in cases like this, or how you would go about helping them?
I think every case is different. I know the case you're talking about. Another case, for example, would be someone who's been to see therapists or chiropractors before, and they come to see me and they say, you know, the chiropractor wasn't able to click my back, for example. That's one we quite commonly hear. And you know, you've got to look at that logically and say, well, if you've been to see a few therapists and tried that and it hasn't worked, then maybe that's not where the problem's coming from. So we look at it from a different angle and make sure we find the underlying problem, and when we do that, we can see some remarkable recoveries. So that was my story. I hope it sort of resonated with you guys. It certainly transformed my life. Not only did it take me from being you know, an average national swimmer, 2 years later becoming British national champion and competing for Great Britain in the European Championships, it's transformed many other people's lives. I'm now in a position where I'm able to help people, and I want to help you. Comment below, tell me what you would like to learn about over the next 12 weeks, and we are going to be covering it. Get involved. See you soon.